I planned what should be an amazing long weekend in Moab, tackling 2 Jeep Badge of Honor trails, Fins and Things, and Hell's Revenge. I was planning the trip, and hotels were $400 a night, which is insane. No way I'm paying that, especially with all the amazing BLM land in the area where you can camp for free. A little research, and I found the perfect secluded spot. Waking up to this view is unbeatable and didn't cost $1,000. In this video, I'll be taking the Fins and Things Trail in the Sand Flats Recreation Area. The park fee is $5 for the day, and there are several campsites in the park, but they can fill up fast during the busy seasons, which is typically the spring and fall. When I was doing my research, it said that the trail starts in the Fins and Things campsite, but this road is actually a little bit before the campsite. The trail is 9.2 miles long and is a mixture of slick rock and sandy roads. The weather is cloudy and rainy, which added some excitement and challenge to the trail. The black tire marks and white arrows make the trail easy to follow. However, there are points with multiple options with varying difficulties. I had to get out of the Gladiator a few times to make sure I picked the right line for me. The approach and departure angles on some of this slick rock is crazy. The camera doesn't do a good job capturing how steep it actually is. There are times you feel like you're defying the laws of physics. The long wheelbase of the Gladiator was noticeable. My hitch left marks all over the trail. I had to go extra slow. This one wasn't even close to being the steepest departure, and the hitch hit at the end. Keep an eye on the dirt bike in the front. The rider almost crashes into the tree on the left. Coming up is an obstacle called the wall. It is a steep 55-degree climb, but it was light work for my Gladiator with no lockers. There is a bypass to the right if you don't feel comfortable taking on the wall. This is the last hill climb before getting onto Sand Hills Flats Road for a short distance. The trail is divided into 2 sections, the south side where I started, and the north side, the larger section of the trail, and in my opinion, the better section. This obstacle is called Mini Lion's Back. It's approximately a 50-degree descent. Just go slow and it isn't a problem. The actual Lion's Back obstacle looks insane, but has been closed for several years due to safety concerns. My first trip to Moab was just under a year ago, and I fell in love with it. I also love the trails in Ouray, Colorado. While I was driving, I was thinking, if someone could only take one trip for the year and they asked me if they should go to Ouray or to Moab, it would be a tough decision, but I would tell them to go to Moab. It is such a unique place, it kind of feels like you're on another planet. By this time, it had been raining on and off for several hours, and the climbs were becoming more difficult. The slick rock was actually becoming slick. During this climb, the tires began to lose traction due to the conditions. Two days later, I did Hell's Revenge, and the weather was perfect, thankfully. There is no way I would do Hell's Revenge in the rain after doing fins and things in the rain. Even with the overcast, cold, dreary weather, the landscape is amazing. Still wish there would have been blue skies though. A trail can look completely different depending on your view. It didn't even occur to me that going straight down was an optional line, but it's obvious from the bottom looking up. Somewhere in this area is a rock formation that's supposed to look like a brontosaurus, but I didn't find it. Either way, the view is nice and worth a stop. Coming up is the only failed obstacle of the day. It is a steep climb up the slick rock, but as you can tell, the conditions are really slick by this point. Figured why not give it at least one attempt. If the Gladiator didn't make it, I just take the bypass. With more momentum, I'm sure the Gladiator would have made it up, but it wasn't worth the risk. In fact, there were two Ford Rubicons behind me, and it took them several attempts to make it up. What I didn't know was that there was a steep and wet hill climb with no bypass near the end of the trail, and I would end up having to send it anyways. This section of the trail was my favorite. The black marks going up and down the fins reminds me of a roller coaster. By this time, the end of the trail is near, and I lost focus and took this descent a little too fast and hit the bottom of the bed, but thankfully the spare tire took most of the impact. Fins and Things is the funnest trail I've done so far. I can see why it's so popular. Okay, time for a damage report. The hitch is in really good shape, surprising since it took so much abuse. The plastic bumper got a little scratched, but that's no big deal, adds a little bit of character.